Some of the biggest names in social media history have completely vanished. Not because they failed slowly, but because they made decisions that destroyed everything they built. You are about to discover what really happened to 10 platforms that once dominated the internet, and why most of them never saw the end coming. Let's start with the platform that invented modern social networking. Friendster launched in 2002 and reached 115 million users at its peak. For context, that's more users than Instagram had in its first 3 years. The platform let you connect with friends, share photos, and build a digital presence before anyone else was doing it at scale. Friendster was social media before social media had a name. But there was a problem nobody outside the company knew about. According to founder Jonathan Abrams, people could barely log into the website for 2 years. Think about that. 2 full years of users trying to access their accounts and getting error messages, slow load times, and crashes. The technical infrastructure could not handle the growth, and instead of fixing it, the company kept adding features. Computer scientists at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology performed an autopsy on Friendster after it died. What they found was fascinating. In 2009, Friendster rolled out a massive site redesign that was supposed to save the platform. Instead, traffic plummeted almost immediately. Users fled to MySpace and Facebook, platforms that actually worked when you clicked on them. By 2015, Friendster shut down completely after desperate attempts to reinvent itself as a gaming platform. The irony was that they had the users, the timing, and the market position. They just could not keep the servers running. Now, MySpace is a name everyone recognizes, but what most people don't realize is how catastrophically it collapsed. Founded in 2003, MySpace became the first social network to reach a global audience. You could customize your page with music, backgrounds, and HTML code. For millions of people, MySpace was the internet. In 2006, it was the most visited website in the world. The most visited website. Not just among social networks, among all websites. Then something unprecedented happened. In 2011, MySpace lost 10 million unique users in a single month. Not over a year, not gradually. 1 month. What caused the free fall? News Corp had purchased the platform and immediately cluttered the interface with ads, slowed down the site, and ignored what users actually wanted. Meanwhile, Facebook was clean, fast, and growing. By 2019, a server migration at MySpace accidentally deleted years of user-generated content. Music, photos, blog posts, all gone. Today, MySpace technically exists, but it's essentially read-only with broken features and almost no activity. It went from a billion-dollar empire to a digital graveyard. But at least MySpace still exists in some form. Let's talk about a platform that defined an entire generation of internet culture and then disappeared completely. Vine launched in 2012 as the original short-form video platform. 6-second looping videos spawned countless memes, launched careers, and created a new form of comedy. At one point, Vine had 200 million active users. The app was everywhere. Vine stars were becoming more famous than traditional celebrities. The platform had everything it needed to dominate the future of video content, everything except a plan to pay its creators. Here's what killed Vine. Instagram and Snapchat started offering video features with better monetization. YouTube was already paying creators through ads. Vine offered nothing. The stars who built the platform, who had millions of followers, could not make a living from 6-second videos. There was nowhere to put ads, no sponsorship infrastructure, no revenue sharing. So they left. Twitter, which owned Vine, watched its top talent flood to competitors and did nothing to stop it. In 2016, Twitter announced Vine was shutting down. The decision seemed sudden to users, but behind the scenes, it was inevitable. You cannot build a creator platform without giving creators a reason to stay. Now let's discuss the most expensive failure in social media history. When Google launches a social network, you'd expect it to succeed. They have unlimited resources, the best engineers, and billions of existing users. Google Plus launched on June 28, 2011, with massive hype and ambitious goals. It was supposed to be the Facebook killer. Instead, it became a punchline. Want to know how badly Google Plus failed? A Google engineer revealed that 90% of all user sessions lasted less than 5 seconds. That meant people were logging in, looking around, and immediately leaving. The platform was a ghost town from day one. But the real disaster was how Google tried to force adoption. They started jamming Google Plus features into every other Google product. YouTube comments required a Google Plus account. Gmail pushed you to join. Android phones came with it pre-installed. Users did not respond by joining. They responded with boycotts and backlash. Then came the security issues. In 2018, Google discovered a software bug that exposed the personal information of over 52 million users. The data breach accelerated the shutdown timeline. On April 2, 2019, Google Plus closed for good. Google had spent 8 years and countless millions trying to compete with Facebook. They failed so completely that the platform became a cautionary tale about forcing products on unwilling users. What you are seeing here is a pattern. Technical failures, ignored users, poor monetization. But the next platforms made even stranger mistakes. Bebo was supposed to be different. Launched in 2005, it captured the hearts of millions, especially in the United Kingdom and Ireland. Customizable profiles, skins, whiteboards where friends could draw messages. For a brief moment, Bebo felt like the cool alternative to MySpace and Facebook. At its peak, Bebo was one of the most visited social networks in several countries. Then came the deal that would doom it. In August 2008, AOL purchased Bebo for $850 million. That was more than News Corp paid for MySpace, and more than Microsoft paid for its stake in Facebook. It seemed like a smart bet at the time. It was not. Within 2 years, Bebo's user numbers collapsed as everyone migrated to Facebook. AOL tried to compete but had no strategy, no innovation, and no understanding of what made social networks work. In 2010, AOL announced it would either sell or shut down Bebo. A BBC technology correspondent later called it one of the worst deals ever made in the dot-com era. The site went through multiple owners and relaunches. Amazon acquired it in 2019 and promptly shut it down. By May 2022, another attempted revival had also failed. Bebo proved that money alone could not save a platform when users had already moved on. Now let's rewind to 2004. Before Facebook went global, before MySpace dominated, there was Orkut. Named after its creator, Turkish engineer Orkut Büyükaktin, this was Google's first serious attempt at social networking, and for a while, it actually worked. Orkut exploded in Brazil and India, reaching 300 million users at its peak. In Brazil especially, Orkut was the social network. Communities, scraps, photo albums. It defined how an entire generation connected online. But Google made a critical error. They never fully committed. While Orkut dominated 2 massive markets, Google kept experimenting with other social products, Buzz, Wave, and eventually Google+. Resources and attention shifted away from Orkut toward these newer projects. Meanwhile, Facebook was aggressively expanding into mobile and building better features. By December 2011, Facebook had overtaken Orkut in Brazil. The tipping point had passed. On June 30th, 2014, Google announced Orkut would shut down on September 30th. The platform that once had 300 million users vanished completely. Google never made Orkut their one bet, and it cost them an entire market. But at least Orkut had its moment. Some platforms barely got started before collapsing under their own mistakes. Take Google Buzz, which might be the fastest high-profile failure in social media history. It launched in February 2010, and it was shut down by December 2011. What made Buzz different, and ultimately fatal, was how aggressively Google forced it on users. Buzz was heavily integrated into Gmail with a no setup needed policy. Sounds convenient, right? It was a privacy nightmare. Buzz automatically followed people based on your most frequent Gmail contacts, and it made those lists public by default. One user reported that Buzz automatically added her abusive ex-boyfriend as a follower and exposed her private communications. Stories like that erupted across the internet within hours of launch. The backlash was immediate and severe. Lawsuits followed. Google scrambled to fix the privacy settings, but trust was already destroyed. Buzz limped along for less than 2 years before Google pulled the plug. The service that was supposed to leverage Gmail's popularity instead became a case study in how not to launch a social product. Then there was the platform that revolutionized content discovery, and then just gave up. StumbleUpon launched in 2002, long before most modern social networks. The concept was brilliant. You clicked a button and discovered random websites tailored to your interests. You simply stumbled through the internet. Over 16 years, StumbleUpon generated 60 billion stumbles across 40 million registered users. It introduced people to content they never would have found otherwise. But as mobile became dominant, StumbleUpon fell behind. The website felt stale, and the interface did not translate well to phones. Content from other sites often broke when loaded through StumbleUpon. Leadership turnover and mounting technical issues made things worse. Competition from Pinterest, Reddit, and algorithm-driven feeds on Facebook buried what made StumbleUpon special. On June 30th, 2018, StumbleUpon shut down. Co-founder Garrett Camp moved on to create Mix, which offered similar features but never captured the original magic. Periscope had the opposite problem. Twitter bought the live streaming app for up to $100 million before it even officially launched. That seemed smart. Live video was exploding, and Periscope offered the best mobile experience. For a few years, Periscope thrived. Major events were streamed live, celebrities used it, journalists broadcast breaking news. But Twitter made a decision that would kill the app. They integrated live streaming directly into Twitter itself. Why use a separate app when you can stream from Twitter? Periscope's user base plummeted while maintenance costs stayed high. The app had been in what Twitter called an unsustainable maintenance mode for years. On March 31st, 2021, Periscope shut down completely. Twitter had cannibalized its own acquisition. Finally, let's talk about Tumblr, a platform that's technically still alive, but bleeding out slowly. Tumblr was weird, creative, and unapologetically messy. It was where fandoms thrived, where artists built followings, where internet subcultures were born. Yahoo acquired it in 2013 for $1.1 billion. Then, in December 2018, Tumblr banned adult content. Traffic collapsed. In just over a year, visits dropped by more than 63%. The community that made Tumblr unique revolted, and many never came back. In 2019, Automatic bought Tumblr for under $3 million, from $1.1 billion to $3 million in 6 years. Today, Tumblr loses $30 million annually. Most of its staff has been reassigned to other projects. The platform still exists, but it is a shell of what it was. Sometimes the biggest mistake is not shutting down. It is killing what made you special in the first place. Every single one of these platforms had something in common. They did not lose because better technology appeared overnight. They lost because they stopped listening. Friendster ignored its technical problems. MySpace cluttered itself to death. Vine forgot to pay its creators. Google Plus forced itself on users who did not want it. Each failure came down to the same thing, putting business decisions ahead of the people who actually used the product. The internet moves fast, but it is not speed that kills platforms. It is arrogance. The moment you assume your users have nowhere else to go, you have already lost. Right now, platforms you use every day are making similar mistakes. The question is whether they will recognize it before it is too late, or if 10 years from now, someone will be making a video about them too.